Hi guys, it's me Gaming Cookie here with another video, and these are 10 tips and things that are helpful for when you're training, working or being interviewed in any kind of Roblox group. So I hope you find this video helpful because these tips helped me when I was working. So here we go. Tip number 1 is to have a notebook on the side. You could use the notebook for writing down notes that are helpful, but I also use it to write down orders so I don't forget them. The one I'm using is called My Notes. I'm pretty sure you can find it in any store. You could use a notepad, like anything that you can write down in. Tip number 2 is to have this app called Ctrl+C that lets you copy and paste things. You can write your intros down, you can write anything down, and then you can click it, and anything you wrote down is being copied just by one click, and then you can paste it. And that way you don't have to waste time by writing your intros or outros or anything. But be careful with this because some groups on Roblox or cafes or hotels or anywhere you're working, some of them don't allow copying and pasting. So make sure you do know if they allow it or not, because you might get in trouble for that. Tip number 3. Don't be scared to ask for help or PTS. By PTS I mean permission to speak. Remember the times when you're allowed to ask for help or PTS. And don't ask meaningless things or things that are annoying, because trainers are separating time of their day to train you. So don't be annoying, no offense, but because I've seen a lot of people who are annoying the trainers or the interviewers, and that's not okay. You have to understand that trainings are hosted like every day or every other day, and a lot of people gather to train you. They separate time of their life to train you, and if you act inappropriate or annoying, then that's not helpful at all. It's not okay. Tip number 4. If you fail, don't get angry at the trainers. You will always have another shot. I know I failed a lot of times, and most of them I was just sad, but there was one time where I left because I was really angry. So remember, when you fail, I know you feel either angry or sad, but you have to know that there are a lot of times where you can try again and again and again, because I've tried many times and I've failed, but that's okay because I can always try again. And I know a lot of people have anxiety or are very nervous when it comes to interviews. I know how that feels, but just take a deep breath. Remember that you can't lose anything. Yes, you will fail, but you can always try again. And even though that sounds kind of pathetic, if you really want that job, you can always try again. So don't lose hope, okay? Tip number 5. Have patience. By having patience, I mean when you start the training or the interviews, there is a host, there is a co-host, there are a lot of people who are there, and there are a lot of rules and things to be told before the trainings or the interviews start. So I know it may look like a waste of time, but trust me, you might learn a lot of things from that. And also, when you are being ranked, you should be patient and respecting. Tip number 6 goes with tip number 5. Listen to the trainers because you can learn some useful things. Like I said, when they are saying all the rules and things, there might be a lot of helpful stuff that you can learn and even write it down if you want. That's why a notebook would be helpful. Tip number 7, teamwork. I'm sure we all have been a trainee and new, so teamwork is pretty important. Other staff members can help you when it comes to making the orders or anything for that matter. So don't be afraid to ask. You got nothing to lose. The same thing goes for when you are higher rank and you see other people struggling, especially new people like trainees. Be nice to them and help them, because teamwork is important, like I said. Tip number 8, grammar. I feel like this is obvious, but grammar is very important to every group. Even if your first language is not English, you should try to learn grammar. It's not that hard. I know I failed a lot of times because of my grammar, but with time I've learned. If you're not confident, you can ask the interviewer or trainer that your English is not great and they could cut you some slack. But don't be always sure that they will do that. You should still try your best. Tip number 9. Be aware of the training/interview times. By this I mean be ready beforehand. Make sure you're there at least 10 minutes early. For me, because I'm on a different time zone, I usually go on Google and search EST, Eastern Summer Time Zone, I think. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I search it up and see what time is it there, like right now. And for example, if in EST is like 5 or 6 at night, and I look it up the interview times, and I see that like in an hour there is an interview session. So yeah, I can't explain very well. I hope you understand. Tip number 10. Know all the rules and TOS, terms of services, and all the Roblox's rules. This one is kind of obvious too, but important. You want to know all the rules, or at least have an idea what they're about. Follow all the rules and try not to break them. And it's the end of the 10 tips, but I have some bonus tips. Tip number 1. Join the Discord server. I'm not sure if every Roblox group or establishment or cafe or restaurant or hotel or whatever it is, I'm not sure that every group has a link to a Discord server, but if there is, you would probably find it above the commenting section. And you should join it because there are a lot of helpful stuff you can find there, like a handbook, and you can read the rules and learn a bunch of stuff. So joining the Discord server, if there is one, would be very helpful. Tip number 2 is to be active. Once you join the Discord server or the Roblox group, you should be more active, as in communicating and answering daily questions, because it's fun and it keeps the group moving and being active. Tip number 3. Know the things you are serving at a cafe or hotel or wherever you are working, and know who is the owner, because some cafes like to do trivia and I'm sure they will ask you that question. Just know some basic things about the place you're working at. Maybe the group has a handbook that can help you, like I said before. So that's all the tips and stuff I can help you with. I hope this was helpful because it did help me when I was working and training. If you have more questions, please do ask me. I'll try to answer them all. And make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so that you get notifications when I post other videos. Anyways, that's all I can help you with for today. As I said, I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.